This is English shorthand dictation number 109 and the dictation speed is 140 words per minute. Ready? Start. We have had two absolutely useless bills before this on the same lines which never matured into anything. We need to have one good bill. The National Green Tribunal bill that would judge environmental issues was introduced in July 2009. There is this feeling that it was done for the establishment of a National Green Tribunal for the effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environmental protection and conservation of forests and other natural resources, but it will have the same powers as a civil court. It will subsume various state-level authorities that address environmental issues as well as committees created by the Supreme Court for that purpose. This new bill that he is bringing in is flawed in parts. Some of the amendments have already been made by the minister. Some of them seem simply cosmetic, like changing 1 year to 2 years, and 3 of them seem all right. The intent of most appointed bodies can be judged from its composition, and on that score the bill fares poorly. The proposed composition of the tribunal follows a tried, tested and failed track. Anybody who has read the bill is bound to wonder whether it is meant to be a club for the retired IAS officers and technocrats. As it stands, the expert members of the tribunal would need administrative experience of 15 years, including 5 years experience in dealing with environmental matters in the central or state government or in a reputed national or state level institution. People who have actually done a huge amount of work in environmental protection cannot join the tribunal, even though they have the experience and even though they have the passion. After all, Supreme Court judges are not born knowing the law. What they do sitting at the Supreme Court is to have an eye for truth, an eye for justice, and common sense, which is what anybody working on the ground has. But you have excluded us from this by bringing a condition of administrative experience of 15 years, including 5 years experience in dealing with environmental matters in the central or state government. What would you count as experience? Bureaucrats are changed every 3 years. They are neither learned nor educated in anything they do. It is simply a matter of passing files around. Why do you not give an appointment or the window of opportunity to people who have actually worked? All earlier attempts in handling environmental problems have failed because their control was left in the hands of bureaucrats. Had such appointees been competent, those government departments or institutions where they served would surely have been instrumental in protecting the environment, which is clearly not the case, and that is why you need a tribunal. In fact, it is the colossal failure of the administration that is creating the compelling logic for the tribunal. What would be infinitely better is for the tribunal expert members to be of technical and scientific background, experts in public health, occupational health, social science with relevant experience in environmental and occupational health, or with qualifications for its membership. There is no provision in this bill for ecologists, hydrologists, and anybody from civil society or NGOs who have been active in the field of environment to become a member. This should be changed. Moreover, a tribunal member can join a corporate house whose case he might have dealt with within 2 years of demitting office. You have changed it from 1 year to 2 years. It is a dangerous proposition that harms transparency and impedes the tribunal's independence. The House panel feels that judges should not be allowed to take up directorship of any concern or be associated with any industrial house. Even worse, the shortlisting of candidates will be done by the Ministry of Environment and Forests. We know the kind of pressure that is put on them to select weak or vicious people with no integrity or value, retired bureaucrats or technocrats in search of re-employment. This is what should be amended. There should be a transparent process of appointment of members and chairman. There should be a noted environmental lawyer or jurist as a member. No bureaucrats should be there as expert members. In fact, a specific clause that anyone working in the Ministry of Environment and Forests or any ministry whose decisions are subject matter before the court cannot be included. If we need these great experts, they can be called in for advice. One of the honorable members has talked about amicus curiae. No doubt they can be amicus curiae. The word expert as qualified by the bill is expert in science, engineering, technology, and having administrative experience. Is it the only thing that makes you an expert? How about people who have spent their lives in the field working with the cold logic to get justice? The field should be open to anyone who has dealt with environmental matters in the field. What amendment can you put in to include people like me? Then I come to the second phase, that is restrictions on one who can approach the tribunal. There is an amendment here, which is a good amendment. It says that any person aggrieved, including any representative body, can file an application. The earlier provision was that judicial and quasi-judicial institutions cannot be strong if only a few people conveniently selected by the authorities are allowed to approach them. Moreover, since the courts have recognized that since environment falls within the purview of Article 21, it is clear that all persons have a duty to protect the environment and a corresponding right to question the adverse impact on environmental health. The bill ignores this principle. In clause 14 to 16, it is given that the tribunal is only allowed jurisdiction in those cases which are considered substantial. The word substantial has been qualified to mean the community at large rather than individual or a group of individuals, and the damage should be grave. That is an extremely serious error. The tribunal can judge what is substantial without any qualification. When does a group of individuals become a community? Would 50 remaining Jarawa tribals qualify as a community or a group of individuals when their forests are cut down by loggers? Does the individual not deserve protection, or does he have to wait until everyone suffers as much as him? Leaving the judging of the issue to the tribunal to decide whether the group is large enough or the issue is grave enough is ridiculous. Let us suppose I live in a lane of 6 houses which has 3 peepal trees, and a company comes in and cuts them down. This would seem so small to the tribunal, but it is life and death to that lane. What should the bill add? All issues arising out of non-implementation or compliance of approval conditions should be a subject of the bill. This is one of the main grievances, as you have with all the mining cases that you have taken action on. They take the approvals for a small patch of land and then destroy an entire district, as in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan. You have no compliance mechanisms. Why do you not make this bill one of your instruments? Why is the bill in clause 15 restricting itself to just providing compensation and perhaps restitution of property? Does this make sense? After the companies have finished mining, the tribals will get some money from them, and black empty holes in the ground laid waste as restitution. The bill has cut off prospective activity, which includes environmental damage. An amendment is needed here to include prospective damage rather than simply retrospective jurisdiction. Has the ministry not heard of the word precautionary? Obviously it has, because that is one of the amendments that it has brought in, and that is well done. But prevention of pollution is the most important way to protect the country. The ministry has protected itself by refusing to give the tribunal the teeth to challenge its decisions. Therefore, the bill should be amended to give it powers to review a statutory authority's exercise of judgment. The courts are subject to review of their decisions. Why should a ministry or an expert appraisal committee not be subject to review? Please bring in an amendment for review of abuse of authority or failure of application of mind. Then you will see that government clearances will survive vested interests.